Esther. This is a safe space where we talk about matters, work environment, jobs, careers, and everything around that. My name is Stephanie Ayata, and today we have a very interesting topic for you. That is how to know that they are about to fire you. How to know that you are about to be fired. That is the conversation we are about to have with Esther Kativa. Thank you very much for having us in your space.
Thank you.
All right. So people have been in this place, if I can call it that, yet you just find yourself being fired out of nowhere. You have not read the telltale signs and all that. So we want to know some of the signs that you are about to be fired.
Yes, and it's important for an employee. And I think when employees learn the language of the employer or your boss, then you'll be able to understand where you're going and where the conversation and relationship is ending.
So it starts with you knowing the language of your employee.
Yes, definitely. You need to know
Your employer,
your
rather.
boss,
Okay.
your supervisor. Some things they say.
So what sort of language are this? Are there common ones that cut across?
Yes, they are. Sometimes you withdraw from different conversations. Maybe meetings or you're not attending, some words that they may use, or just feeling off and not talking much to you. And I think you need to be alert.
Okay.
Be alert. The things are not just normal. You need to be alert. And people sometimes pretend that they can't see it, but mostly 90% you see things have changed.
You see the red flags.
Yes.
Like in relationships, you know, some people are just avoid the red flags, but they're there.
I know.
So it's still the same in the
It's
workplace.
the same. It's
Okay.
a safe space. Yes.
So is there any difference, before we get into the signs, because that is the main thing, is there any difference for someone who has seen these signs and has gotten themselves, you know, prepared for it, and for someone who has just, you know, been surprised by the, you know, firing?
Sometimes, of course, employers just surprise people. You didn't expect it. Maybe because a business is shutting down or some things. And I know that if a business is going through a hard time, the last people maybe to know it would be the people at the bottom.
Yeah.
Because then the discussions are closed or meetings up there, and everyone is talking about it at the top, but it never comes down. Then that's a different thing.
Okay.
But if it has to do with your performance, it has to do with your relationship, you could be a good performer, but maybe your boss just doesn't like you sometimes. And they want to let you go, then it affects it. The relationship just becomes so, and you can tell, you can see.
Okay.
Things are not the same, the way they talk to you, the way they engage you, maybe your emails, the tone of emails, the tone they use even to talk to you.
So Esther, one of the signs that have been documented is that you receive a pay cut. Is receiving a pay cut not normal?
It is not, I don't think I would say it's very normal, unless on special occasions, like when there was COVID, then pay cut should go across board. It cannot just be you alone. And I think that's where people need to see, because if you're having conversations with your boss and the conversation is going around your performance, and I think we need to reduce your pay, maybe you are not giving us back what equal to the money that we are paying you, and there's a pay cut only for you,
Then you know
and
there's
that's a red flag. Yes.
But when it's a pay cut for at least a number of people, then
An entire organization, we understand that businesses could go through a very hard time and decide to do that. However, pay cuts must be consented by the employee.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
So, and what about when superiors don't acknowledge your achievements anymore? So this means that they used to and they've suddenly stopped.
Yes, that happens as well. So if maybe you discover that your boss, whatever you do, it doesn't matter how much effort you put. Even some people even work overtime, and your boss doesn't even acknowledge it. I mean, you need to be very careful, because you've put in everything. You've done what you can. You've put in extra time. You even maybe going beyond what you should do, but nobody recognizes that. And I think they're losing that interest in you.
But should it be okay for your employer not to acknowledge such, especially, you know, working overtime and all that, even if they intend to fire you?
is it okay for them not to acknowledge, or is it okay for them to acknowledge? I think it is important for your employer to, you see, I said in previous conversations that we are human beings, and I think what motivates you and what drives people to even push further is that appreciation. I think it's a better term that we need to use. People, when nothing is being appreciated, you're doing everything you can, you deliver your results, you deliver everything in good time, but they might even appreciate other people in your presence and not recognize you. It's that bad, it gets that bad. You will sometimes hear bosses say, oh, thank you, Esther, thank you, Stephanie, and they leave out somebody in there, and you're wondering, I was driving this whole project, you know? Yeah. But they don't appreciate. It doesn't matter how much you put into it. They don't appreciate. They don't even recognize you. They will come even talk about everyone else and what everyone else has done except you. It's really a signal.
Okay.
Yes.
And what about being left out of important meetings?
Oh yes, that's usually the first that they begin to do. They begin to organize meetings and people asking you, oh, I didn't see you in this meeting, and you're also shocked that there was a meeting. You didn't know there was a meeting. You're also shocked, and there are meetings that you've been attending. All of a sudden, you've been dropped from the meeting, and maybe either someone else has been taken into the meeting who could, unfortunately, be even your junior sometimes, or they just have meetings and they're not calling you, so you're not even in the loop. You seem lost. Decisions are being made, and you are part of the decision-making team. Decisions are being made without you, you know. So that shock of, I'm no longer in meetings, and you're wondering, we used to have a meeting this time of the month or this time of the week, what happened? And everyone else says it happened. And you know, you're thinking, oh, so how did I miss the link? You know that.
Did I miss an email?
Did I miss an email? Did I miss a memo? Did I miss the link? Or is my network not working? You know, you try to refresh, it's not working. You know, in short, they are simply saying your contribution is not important at this meeting. It's not needed.
Okay, wow.
Sad. It's a sad state.
That's quite sad. Yeah. And there's also this particular sign that I also read about, but I was surprised on it. Tasks being reduced for you. Why is that a sign? I thought that you know, giving you pressure and more tasks so that you can leave would be the sign.
But they're withdrawing. I mean, they're giving your duties to somebody else. They are handing them over to someone else. Okay. So you're actually becoming irrelevant. With time, they're pulling you out of the system. So you will also be discouraged. You'll find that somebody else has been doing your work. Nobody's giving tasks, so they don't even have anything to ask you for. Sometimes I've heard people say, you know, my boss is not giving me assignments, so even coming to work, I don't know what I'm coming to do. It's not that your work stopped being done. Somebody else has been given your work. Okay. It's you that's not getting the assignment, because it's actually like, it's like a back-end handover. It's been taken over by somebody else. So then mostly what they want you to do is also to exit yourself. Okay. Yeah, because most employers will frustrate you that way, so that you can exit yourself, because terminating you also is an expense. It's a process. They would need to prove, maybe if an employer says that you've not been performing, then the law requires that they prove that they had given you KPIs, they had given you performance scores and everything, and they've been evaluating you, and they have supported you in every way, and then now you are not performing. So that long process, which could lead to legal issues, they avoid. So most of them will frustrate you. They will take away the jobs until you exit yourself.
And does the opposite also apply, them increasing your workload so much that you can't handle, so that you also exit?
They want you to fail. Yeah. People will set you up. They'll give you more than you can do. Then they will set you up. Definitely, there's so much you can take. And when you don't deliver, then now they will come at you and say, you're not able to deliver this, we gave you this, we gave you this. And if you start explaining what's happening, then they will say you're not performing. It's too much anyway. Just give someone what they can handle. But because they want to set you up, it's like a setup. They want to set you up, then you will fail. Okay. And then now they will come up to you like you're a non-performer and something, and just...
So it applies on both extremes, when you have less tasks and when you have excess tasks. Okay, and there's this other one, when your employer keeps asking you if you're okay. I would think that would be a good thing.
Not really. I know people want attention, but sometimes if that's not the nature of your boss, then you need to be cautious when your boss is around you. Are you fine? Are you fine? You know?
From nowhere,
From nowhere, and I'm thinking all of a sudden you're interested in knowing how I'm doing, you know? But you can see something is not straight, you know? Your job has been reduced, your pay, your salary has been cut. All of a sudden the person is asking if you're okay, you know, because they are trying to weigh whether you're really getting the message or what are your next moves, or, you know, they want to see, are you getting the message, are you about to exit yourself, you know, or, you know, so it's, they just want to get your feedback, and because at that point you're frustrated, so they are expecting you to speak, you know, they just want to prompt you to talk. Are you okay? So that you say, no, I don't understand why this and this is not happening, I feel like exiting, and then someone is of course clapping inside. It's like, you know, like you should have done this, it's working.
So does it apply when all of these signs are being done to you, or is it some are more superior than others? Like for instance, if your boss keeps asking you if you're okay, and that's the only sign that's there, is it enough for you to know that I'm almost being fired, or you need more to it?
It may not just be enough by itself, because, well, if a boss doesn't care, and he's not been asking you, let's say you've been there for a year or two, they've not been asking if you're okay, then all of a sudden you should ask yourself a question. Why is the person so interested, unless they have other interests? But just asking you if you're okay may not be enough, solid enough for you to know. But the rest of the things like pay cuts and loan for yourself, and maybe lack of recognition and other things, duties being withdrawn, then if you combine that, I think you should clearly see something is cooking.
Okay.
Yes.
What about when your job position is being advertised?
Oh, that's very rude, and it's really bad.
Quite, you know,
and you're still in the
white.
company. And you're still in the company. I think it's lack of respect, especially even for a boss. I think a boss should be able to come straight and say that, Esther, we don't need you any longer. I think we will need to hire somebody else. But I think it's really, it's wrong. It's unprofessional, because it also puts that person in a very bad space among the colleagues, because the colleagues just come and say, I thought you were the marketing manager, or are we hiring? And sometimes you don't even know.
So
you hear it from your colleagues.
What happens in that instance? Because if you're there and they're hiring, it means they've not given you a termination notice. Yeah,
they've not given you. So sometimes, but of course, you know, Stephanie, you're a human being, and you know how that makes you feel. You can obviously see something is coming up, and either you're being exited or you can't understand, because it's the same role. Then why is it being advertised? However, they should not push you out without following due process to exit you. But of course, immediately your morale just goes down. I mean,
Okay.
But it's very unprofessional, very, very unprofessional for any organization to do that. Why don't you just come and have a conversation? And if we agree that I'm not the right person, then we start the exit process. You can advertise even if I'm in, but I'm on my way out. Unless your structure then allows you to have two people in the same position, which is not very common.
Okay. Yeah. What about when your requests for improvements, you know, keep on being rejected by the management?
Improvement in terms of what? Of
your
work?
Your raise, a raise, maybe something like that.
Well, the employers will keep saying no to a raise. Doesn't mean maybe they want to exit you always. It doesn't mean maybe the business is not able to pay or to increase their salary at that point. But if then they are doing that for somebody else and yours is not being taken in, then it's a sign that they don't think you're adding value
to the company.
Because if everybody else, if they come and increase for everyone else except you, then it's a clear message that you don't deserve a raise. Then it means you're not adding much value
to the company.
We value the others more than you.
All right. This particular and very interesting, when your mistakes don't seem to matter anymore.
Because sometimes they don't care. You see, it gets to that point where an employer has kind of disconnected.
So you're no longer part of the team anymore?
You're no longer part of the team, and it's usually that cold firing. It's just sending a signal like the faster you exit, the better. We even don't care. You know, I've had bosses say, it's okay, that one can leave them, don't bring them to the meeting, what they're doing doesn't matter. It's because they want to frustrate you, and they want you to exit yourself. Of course, when they know that exiting you is an expensive thing and it might cause legal issues, then they will frustrate you and just let you go out.
So that's cold firing.
Yes.
Okay.
It's very dangerous for even for the employee, because going to work every morning and you know that your boss or your employer doesn't need you. It's like you're forcing yourself into a relationship, and you don't even have some work to do. Sometimes work is withdrawn until you have almost nothing to do.
You know, and that was the next thing I wanted to ask. Yeah. Employer asking you to give some of your tasks to a colleague.
Yes, that's what they do. That's what they will do. Or they even give it themselves. They will assign a colleague what really should come to you, and you know, with the level and the structure, some of that assignment should be done by you. Then when they begin to pull that out and give it to somebody else, and sometimes your colleague will be innocent and say, you know, I was asked to do this. But you see, for you, it shocks you and you're quiet and you're thinking, okay, so when did this person begin doing these things? Then with time you learn, oh, it's not just that one, so much is going into somebody else. Then it's a sign that, and it's on your JD. If it's on your JD and it's being given to someone else,
then you know.
Then you know that they're pulling out your roles and actually sending you out. Yes.
What about when your performance appraisals keep on dwindling? And your ratings and everything?
Sometimes the rating could be because the person is not performing, could be genuine. Others is because maybe your boss just wants to get you out, you know. And no matter how much evidence you bring into the meeting, that I have done this, or maybe this is what cost me not to maybe hit my target. And sometimes it is the boss who may not have approved something or may not have given something. Let's say if you're doing marketing and the budget is not given, and then you keep requesting for funds and requesting for something, or you're in a different department, you need to manufacture something, and you're not given the finances or the resources that you need. And then still it's used against you, and your boss doesn't even want to listen to you, then I think you don't have much choice, because you can't deliver. You're not able to deliver without resources. You're not going to pick your money and do the business. So it's usually sometimes just a setup, and then they'll push you out with that.
Okay. Yeah. And one of the last signs is you yourself searching for the internet for signs that you might get fired.
Searching for what? For the internet, sorry?
Searching in the internet for signs that you might get fired. So it's like you know it, but you just want to confirm it from the internet. It's
usually a denial sometimes. Most employees will see it coming. Most will see it coming, but there's that denial phase, of course. Yeah. Because when you start thinking about your family, you start thinking about responsibilities that you have, you don't want to believe that it's coming. You know, it's not a very good thing anyway, and people do mourn the loss of a job, one way or the other, because that's, I think it's because people also confuse. Your job, for me, I always say, is a channel, and God is your source. So if you interchange the two and think that you're done and you're finished when you lose your job, well, it throws you off balance, no doubt, and it can be a very bad thing for a family. But I think most people will see it coming. You will see it coming when things change, when relationships change, tasks change, I mean, attitudes change. You're not in meetings, you're not in, people are going for coffee or something else, or their emails going around and just passing over your head. There's so much that, or comments that even just come across the table. Some leaders are really insensitive, and they'll make a comment, or they will even skip you when they want people to do presentations. They will call every other department and skip you, as or throw you the last and give you 5 minutes when everybody else had 30 minutes to present.
So it's a clear indication that they want you out.
They're just frustrating you.
So now the next question would be, and I believe we're going to address this in the next show. So what next after you have seen all these telltale signs that you know for sure I'm going to get fired? So what are you supposed to do?
Sometimes I know people will hang on to that job, fully understand, because they need to pay the bills. People stay. It can be really mental torture for you to stay in a place that you're not needed. You know, it's forcing yourself. It's painful. It hurts, and all that. But because most companies want you to just exit yourself, sometimes it's honorable to just exit, or people have opted to just stay and wait to be exited.
Which is the wise decision to make?
I think I'll leave it to the person. Sometimes I don't want to tell people to leave, because then there's so many things they consider around quitting the job. But if those signs are clear and you know too well and you can see it, I think begin looking for a job.
Okay, so we're going to touch on that. We're going to talk about that in the next episode, when it's good enough to exit and how one should exit from a job. All right, looking forward to that. I hope you are too. Thank you very much, Esther, for having us in your space. That has been Conversations with Esther, talking about how to know that they are firing you. You can still converse with us at Conversations with Esther. That's on YouTube and also on Instagram. Her personal handle is on LinkedIn at Esther Katiba. We have been recording here at H&S Serena Hotel. We'll be back with more in the next episode. My name is Stephanie Ayata. See you then.